Well, largely I want them to know how to find their own practice. I'm a firm believer that you can't be a serious teacher of yoga without a very solid meditation practice and without the continuous reflections that meditation brings, where you get to look at yourself a bit more clearly and go, you know, some days, oh, yuck, and other days, oh, well, that's, you know, really great. So in the trainings, I'm insistent that people take a meditation practice immediately. If people already have that practice, I don't generally ask them to give up or to change any of their commitments, but I ask them often to add at least once or twice a week something that we're doing in the group, so they stay with the group that way. From there, I'm a difficult teacher in terms of knowing the fundamentals and making sure that you understand the fundamentals of how to teach poses safely, how to practice them safely, and how to not put someone else in harm's way because of your own dogmatic ideas about practice. And then, you know, I think my real strength is the breaking down of poses in a way where you understand how the different parts of the body have to come together in the pose, how the breath comes together, how the mind, you know, comes together. If you're deciding to teach yoga because you want a career of it, my general comments are that's unlikely to be possible. Okay? That you do the practice and you love it enough that you can't help but want to share it. That's a good reason to teach. If you're teaching from a career point of view or prestige or honor or any of those things, those will come and go. Okay? You will be, you know, very respected at some point, and then you'll do something, or someone will perceive you doing something that doesn't look right, and suddenly you've gone from here to here, and then back to here. That's just a part of the process. Okay? But I think it's important that I met yoga at a time in my life where my life was very challenged. And it reminded me in that time that the outside world point of view was not the only point of view. And it somehow reminded me that as broken as I felt, there were still pieces that weren't broken. I think primarily I'd like them to take away a meditation practice that nourishes them for the rest of their life. That is much more important to me than the asana practice. Because at some point you won't be able to do asana. And that's it. Whether that's tomorrow because you fall down and break a leg, so that would be one. Two, that they find a relationship with their own body and a practice that works for them. Three, that they're able to teach a beginner level student a solid beginner level class where the student leaves knowing this is foundational. I must find this before I go into the pose. These are the movements, regardless of my flexibility and mobility, that I can do, and how to use props when and needed to make the pose more accessible for themselves and for the people that they teach. And I think more than anything else, to know that what you become the best teacher from your weaknesses and from your brokenness, not from pretending that you are indeed whole and perfect. And I think that requires a genuineness on the part of the teacher. So you have to be comfortable with your life in a way where you're able to say, yeah, you know, well, I screwed up over here and I did okay over here and I'm working on this, rather than coming in with a rigid structure that says this is yogic and this is not yogic. Okay? And that somehow by observing other people we can decide what they're doing, whether that is yogic or not, that's a misunderstanding. It's a great Buddhist teaching I've been trying to play with a lot. It says, don't try to figure out what someone else is thinking. Okay? Because you barely know what you're thinking most of the time, let alone what someone else is thinking. And so, I think those would be good fundamentals. My own personal journey, I think yoga rebuilt some brokenness for sure. But at points, I think most of my friends would say, and certainly, that the ego problems arose as my practice became a bit more proficient. And it's a challenge. Same thing as being a teacher, it's a challenge to not get sucked into believing the reviews. So there's a teaching in Buddhism that says, trust the principal witness, which means no matter what everybody else is saying to you about how good you are and so on, listen inside to whether that's really the case. At the same time, same is true if someone's talking to you in a negative way. I think well-structured and guided meditation practice is an opportunity to get to know yourself and your relationship with the world more deeply. And then you get to see the parts of yourself that, aren't so pleasant or are just hiding out of fear. And in meditation, there's some room for them to come up a bit. So I see it more as a reflection on not so much who am I, but what am I? And I think there's a Korean Zen teacher that says meditation is just simply this. Ask yourself, on the inhalation, what am I? And on the exhalation, say, don't know. And that idea of not knowing is very interesting. I've been playing with this week. Someone says something, or I have a question about something, and I've decided I'm not touching my phone, I'm not going to Google, I'm just going to sit in the experience of not knowing. And I didn't like it in the beginning, but I'm starting to like it a lot more. So just get used to not knowing that that's okay. So that's where the meditation scene is at the moment for me, is don't know, keep don't knowing.